So, Nick, over the weekend,
Uh-huh.
I went into the dome.
I did too, and I just got the fuck out because
That's the thing is, Nick,
Mhm.
what they don't tell you is once you enter the dome,
Uh-huh.
you can't leave the dome.
I
You're
think you
in the
just
dome.
I think you just you got weak will. I think you have a weak
You're in
will.
the dome for
Uh-huh.
hours and hours
For
and hours,
hours. So many hours.
and you can't leave the dome.
I
And
did.
you know, you're doing a show on Monday that's probably
Yeah.
going to talk about this shit.
Mhm.
So you got to stay in the dome.
You don't have to. You really didn't have to. I
Actually,
didn't.
okay, so like I have a lot to say about the dome, okay?
Uh-huh.
I have a lot to say about the dome.
Right.
Cuz here's the thing. The dome, way too long, way too big. There's
Way too long.
too much in the dome, okay? I think if this was like an in-person event.
Did we announce what it was? DC Fandome.
Oh yeah, DC Fandome.
By the way, it's the
Yeah,
DC
it was the DC
event.
Fandome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, DC
Yeah,
Fandome.
I just don't. I didn't remember if we said it before. We're just
Yeah, I
people
don't think I did.
listening, going, "What the fuck is the dome? What is he
Yeah.
talking about?"
But
Yeah.
once the thing about the dome, like if this was an in-person event and you had all these different things and you had a live stream going along with it or whatever,
Mhm.
this would make a lot more sense to me. It didn't have any of that. And they had advertised this as like the big community thing. Like everyone needs to watch this shit. And it was 4 hours long. And I think I would have been
much like the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I would have been totally fine with this event if it was 2 hours long. I think that would have been the perfect length of time for it. I'm a little disappointed in it just in the fact that last year's Fandome was awesome. They showed off so much like cool stuff, concept art, and I think the most disappointing thing about the Fandome is they spent so much time on the Arrowverse and all the stuff going on in the Arrowverse. And when I say so much stuff in the Arrowverse, what I mean is, oh, look, the Flash has gold boots now. And it's like, really?
What do you and then interviews about what do you think about the gold boots?
Yeah, literally.
And literally the actor going, "I'm just glad the people get to see my new gold boots."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And then there was like an interview with a comic guy, and he's like, "Well, you know, what are the things for the future of this comic?" And they're like, "Well, we've got some stuff lined up for the future. We're not talking about it just yet." And then literally the next question was, "So what's in the future of this?" And then he's like, "Dude, yeah." It's just like, "Oh, are you kidding me?"
But the thing that really upset me about that, and I maybe would have even been more okay with it, is when they did talk about the big stuff like Aquaman, Black Adam, Flash, the Batman, they spent 2 seconds on it. And it's like, bruh.
It was literally like, "Here's a trailer. Okay, now on to Flash's boots."
It's like you could have shown me like set photos and maybe some concept art. Even last year, they showed concept art for the Flash. What are you doing, guys? But here's the thing. All that said, and I think the event ultimately was horrible, but all that said, there was a lot in there that I'm very excited for. And I think DC is doing some really cool stuff right now. And I also think DC is aware that the DC Fandome was shit. And that's why they put the Batman at the end to keep people around.
Keep people around for the 4 hours. Honestly, I'm like, how long is this? And then they showed off, I think the Black Adam thing was first. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then it just kind of started dragging. And I'm like, I'm just going to wait. I don't need to see the Batman thing live on stream. I'll watch it at 4K on my own, you know?
So I thought it would be fun here, Nick.
Okay.
I don't have like a list in front of me. I'm just going to go off my fucking head.
I've got a small list of like the big important shit that we get back into it. Black Adam, great casting.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
What I was saying is, I think seeing Dwayne as Black Adam is going to be fun just to see Dwayne playing a different character than, the eyebrow raising character he always plays.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. The goofy good guy.
Yeah. Which we did get to see more of the goofy good guy Dwayne later on in the DC Dome, when they talked about the DC Super Pets movie that's coming out, starring him and Kevin Hart.
Oh,
Dwayne is playing.
I didn't see that, I guess.
Dwayne is playing Crypto, the super dog. So that's fun.
Okay.
What really pissed me off about that was they're like, here's a little teaser. And then it was a teaser, and then they're like, full trailer is next week. And it's like,
yeah.
Why would you not just show it here?
Yeah, just show it here.
What are you doing?
Seriously.
Yeah, yep. I don't get it, man. I don't get it at all. The dome needs work. The dome needs some repairs, let's just say. The other exciting thing was they showed Aquaman. Yep. What'd you think of Aquaman? Did you see the Aquaman stuff?
I saw the Aquaman stuff. It looks better than the first one. I liked the little like behind the scenes thing. I am not at all a fan of Jason Momoa and anything he does.
Huh. It's interesting.
So I just don't think he's very good at acting. I think he just is sexy, I guess.
He is. And that's okay.
And that's fine. But I just don't I don't feel like he's a good actor. Like Dwayne Johnson is a good actor. I feel like he plays his parts really well. Okay. Whereas like I can't really compare him to Dwayne Johnson because like Dwayne Johnson has only really played one character.
Yeah.
We literally said. And I feel like
I think Jason Momoa
does the same shit.
I think Jason Momoa has far more range than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I think
the
only reason you're comparing
I saw Blind, and I saw Aquaman, and I saw Game of Thrones. I think it was Blind, or it was Deaf or something like that. The Netflix show. He played the same character in all of those. All of those fucking movies and shows. They're literally the same character.
I don't know. I like Jason Momoa. I like him as Aquaman. I think he's like a perfect Aquaman. I didn't love the first Aquaman movie, but I did like it. And like for me, the first Aquaman movie, I saw it right after like Justice League, and it was just like such a huge improvement that I was like, oh my god, they did it. They brought it back. It's back, baby. DC's
and then you
back.
watched it again, and you're like, eh.
Yeah. Well, they need to fire Amber Heard first and foremost. Fire Amber Heard. Yeah. But
who's the director on this? Isn't it Gunn? James Gunn?
No, it's James
Wan. James Wan.
Yeah,
James Wan is directing this. And I really liked what he said, that he's like, it's going to be really colorful. It's going to be like out of this world. And I'm like, oh, good. Not a fucking black and white fucking movie that all DC has been recently.
Yeah. Well, DC seems to be like, and this is something I liked a lot about the Dome, entering into the Dome. And yes, I will continue to refer to it as the Dome. Right. But what I really liked about the Dome was they kept pushing the fact that this is a multiverse. That, you know, we're trying out a bunch of different things. And that is something I really like about the DC Fandome, is like, we have the Arrowverse, we have Sweet Tooth, we have a bunch of different stuff. All our movies are not connected. And this is a DC we wouldn't have seen 10 years ago. You know, like right. We wouldn't have seen it like that 10 years ago. Because I remember 10 years ago, George Miller was signed on to be the director of a Justice League movie. And they decided not to make it because Christopher Nolan's Batman was coming out. Right. And they thought it would be confusing to have two Batmans on screen. Right. Two different actors playing Batman. And with this DC Fandome, we've proven that we can potentially.
Well, I mean,
we'll see.
They showed off like 4 different Flashes and 2 Batmans in this DC Fandome.
Yeah.
Or 4 different Flashes and 2 Batmans. Yeah. In this DC Fandome. So, yeah. And that's just movies.
Yeah. That's just.
They're both movies. They're not like a game and a movie. It's like they are full-fledged movies. So.
Yeah. They showed off some Shazam stuff.
That was cool.
I was not a fan of the first Shazam movie.
Really? I liked
like
Shazam.
I don't know.
I thought the end kind of like they blew their load with like, everybody in the family has powers now, and I'm like, oh man, I really enjoyed like the story, like how he was the only one, and he's like trying to keep it a secret, or not. He's not really trying to keep it a secret, but he's like the only one who has powers, and I thought that was kind of a cool dynamic. But now everybody's got powers, and I'm like, well, now it's just going to be a fucking brawl fest. Is kind of what I feel the second one's going to be.
Yeah, I like a lot of the humor just didn't land with me. And I also didn't like it. It was still just sort of like dark and drab looking, but it was like a comedy. But you know, like it confused me, that movie. That movie made me feel weird inside. Where like the reason I liked Aquaman is cuz Aquaman was super colorful compared to the other DC movies. It was like very bright blues and like sort of neon at points. Like,
well, I kind of liked it because it was like, is a kid's story. It was kind of like Tom Hanks's Big, you know. It was like that, but it was dark, and it was like, what if that actually happened? Yeah, and it's like, fuck, dude, that's kind of scary. The way that they portrayed it, it's like this kid, he's living in New York, I think, or Chicago, and
some big city.
And like he gets superpowers and people are out to kill him. He's just a fucking kid. You know how scary that would be? Just be like, yeah, I'm super cool. I've got superpowers. I'm indestructible. And then somebody can beat your ass and you're like, I don't want this anymore. This is too much. I thought they did a really good job at that.
Yeah, I'm also excited to see like how this movie ties into Black Adam and like how how those two things are going to be connected. And I'm just sort of curious with DC right now how everything is going to be connected and like what is and isn't connected, you know, like I'm kind of intrigued by it. I think it's all kind of fun, and they're like in a fun, interesting spot right now. And
yeah, I think this is the best thing for them, because then it's just like, we'll try everything and whatever sticks.
Yeah. And it makes me feel like this is comic books, you know, like this is how comic books are. You know, comic books are not all connected, and usually they're loosely connected. It's like someone makes their own storyline and then they're like, well, let's cross it over with Wonder Woman. Fuck it. Like, let's do that. Which brings me to my next thing, which is The Flash. Like, let's just talk about that real quick. Yeah. They didn't show much, and Ezra Miller in his pre-show, like, hey, we don't have anything to show, looked very unthrilled to be there. He looked very unamused. They probably spent all day shooting, and they're like, hey, can you shoot this stupid thing for DC Fandome? He's like, fuck. All right, yeah. But I think this trailer to me was almost like just as hype as the Batman one.
Really?
Like, this trailer was fucking hype, dude. I don't know. I was like super into it.
I thought this was more of like an Arrow or a Flash like TV series kind of trailer. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I probably won't watch it. I do like that they're bringing old Batman back. Val Kilmer? Or
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton Batman back. I feel like if they are going to bridge all of these universes together, it'll be through Ezra Miller.
Yeah,
and he'll be like the
it's gonna be like
the Marvel guy.
No Way Home.
It'll be like the Marvel guy, the guy that made Marvel, that wrote Spider-Man. Just died. Stanley. He'll be like the Stanley. He'll just show up in all these different movies as like a cameo. And I think they could do that. And he's young, so he'll live forever.
So now I have a theory, okay? Like, I feel like there's more to this movie that we don't know about, okay? Because
they don't show much.
It seems to me they're doing, because they don't have much, obviously. But it seems to me that they're doing the Flashpoint paradox, like that. Seems to me. And if you know the Flashpoint paradox, that kind of devolves into Atlantis versus the Amazonians. And I'm wondering, is that possible? Like, are we going to see Gal Gadot in this movie? Are we going to see Jason Momoa in this movie? And is Michael Keaton not actually Batman? Is he fucking Thomas Wayne? because that's how the Flashpoint paradox is. Batman is the one who gets shot, like Bruce Wayne is the one who gets shot as a kid.
Interesting.
And Thomas Wayne is the one who ends up living. And I feel like no one is bringing up this theory that Michael Keaton is actually not Bruce Wayne. He's Thomas Wayne, which would make sense in the timeline. You know, he's actually Ben Affleck's dad. And like that's why Ben Affleck's not in this movie. And maybe we do see Gal Gadot in this movie. Maybe we do see fucking Aquaman man. What's his name? Jason Momoa in this movie. Like, I feel like if they're gonna blow their load with Michael Keaton in this movie, fucking do it, man. Which also clears up for me, you know, because over the past year, there were talks like Michael Keaton isn't gonna be in the Flash movie because he was worried about COVID. And he's like, I don't want to shoot I'm old. I don't want to shoot a movie and COVID. And then they finally were like, oh, we got him. And it's like, yeah, they can make this movie without Michael Keaton, but they wanted him because the reference. But like, they can make it without him. They could have anyone play Thomas Wayne. I keep saying Thomas Kent. Thomas Wayne. So yeah, I don't know. These are my fun theories that I'm throwing out here.
I like that. It's interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting.
I've heard no one say this shit. Like no one. I'm like, am I the only one? I don't know.
You should put it on TikTok.
Yeah, I'll
like. So this happens.
Anyway, do you have any more thoughts on the Flash?
No. Nope. No more Flash.